I hate spending money on video games, not because I'm broke, but because when presented with the option to buy a $60 game or $60 worth of food,
I'ma eat it.
As the ultimate min-maxer, I'm gonna make sure I pay the least amount for the most amount of value possible. This very concept is why most of the games I've purchased on Steam are under $20. But you know, finding good games for cheap can sometimes be very hard. But my experience as a mobile gamer has really given me this ability to just discern trash from a genuinely good game. Whether it be during Steam sales or browsing the $10 and unders tab on Steam, I'm always looking for cheap games to sink countless hours into. Due to the games I played growing up, I tend to have a major bias towards 2D or pixelated games, which luckily for me, end up being on the cheaper side of the spectrum. Sometimes I find a game so good and so cheap that I've gone beyond penny pinching. I think I might be... Hey guys, EnderHerve here. On today's episode of Pixel Pinching, we're going to be talking about 20 Minutes Till Dawn. Another vampire survivor-like slash bullet heaven slash roguelike game, but this time with a little bit more of a gothic, non-pixelated 2D look to it. I meant to mention this in the Bone Razor Minion video, but I actually don't like vampire survivors at all. I know, like, how can I sit here and recommend vampire survivor-like games, and I'm not even a fan of vampire survivors? Well, everyone has different tastes and preferences, you know? And mine just so happen to be the spiritual successors of Vampire Survivors. So, now that that's out the way, 20 Minutes Till Dawn is another game where you have to survive against waves and waves of enemies, fighting against elites, mini-bosses, and eventually the final boss to survive the night. As you kill enemies, they drop experience points, which level you up, allowing you to choose from several different upgrades to buff your character, weapon, or summons. Each upgrade splits off into 2 different sub-upgrades and 1 final upgrade based on the type of upgrade. As the name of the game suggests, each run of the standard mode takes about 20 minutes, and surviving the night will unlock the next darkness level. There are 15 darkness levels, each adding something that makes the game a little bit harder. This game plays a lot more like Vampire Survivors in the sense where your character is going to be doing most of the work and you will need to actively be able to move around swarms of enemies to win the game. And you actually have to aim and shoot in this game, but of course there's a way to toggle that off and just have it auto aim to the nearest enemy. Every couple of minutes an elite will spawn. Each elite drops a chest with character specific perks, and at level 20 your weapon can evolve to become strong and gain a new effect. On top of elites, there are also bosses in the game. Bosses will drop a tome that massively buffs certain stats and has some major downsides for other stats. After every run, no matter if you win or lose, you get this currency that you can use to unlock and upgrade runes that will give you buffs for every future run. This game has a grand total of 13 characters and 11 weapons to choose from, each complete with different passives and mechanics to make them feel somewhat unique. You can mix and match characters and weapons, but some weapons and characters were obviously built for each other. There are 2 other game modes. Quick Play, which lasts 10 minutes, and Endless, which doesn't apply any of the darkness that you have unlocked already, and also does not apply any of your runes. So basically you start off at like base everything, and you just try to scale and outscale the game that's also scaling with you. And since it's endless, you get to pick the same upgrade as many times as you want. There's also 2 other maps with different enemy types, but they don't change too much about the game. 20 Minutes Till Dawn is one of my favorite Vampire Survivor-like games because of the variety of upgrades and synergies built into the game. Not only are there actual synergies that appear as upgrade choices for when you have certain upgrades, but there are a variety of different builds and combos you can do in order to survive the night. Builds that are more focused on your weapon. Builds that are more focused on summons. Builds that are more focused on elementals. Builds that are more focused on movement speed. builds that are more focused on HP, and builds that are whatever this is. The point is that there are a variety of cool upgrades and combos in this game, which on top of mixing and matching characters, weapons, and runes, can make for some pretty broken runs. Finding which upgrades, weapons, and runes work best on each character in order to beat Darkness 15 is what this game is all about. As far as how balanced all the upgrades are, nothing seems to be too strong or too weak. There are only a couple of upgrades that seem to be needed on every character, one being Holy Mantle, which blocks a hit every 2 minutes or eventually 1 minute if you get the final upgrade, and the other being anything related to freeze, because freeze in this game is just broken. Like, freeze in this game will just stop an enemy completely, even bosses. So if you can get freeze, it's pretty good, and I think you should just get freeze if you ever see it, like it just every time. Not to mention it has really good sub upgrades and a really good like final upgrade that gives you AoE on every frozen enemy that's killed. So yeah, freeze is pretty broken. And the weakest upgrade would probably be like the pickup range one, because I don't really see a case use for it. Even its sub upgrades and final upgrades aren't that great, so I don't usually ever take it. But the rest of the upgrades are pretty balanced around whatever idea or gimmick they're trying to achieve. Of course, this game has fun challenges and achievements as well. Like I was saying in the last review, I really do enjoy when a game has achievements that are, you know, challenging but not too hard, and also like actually achievable. Not like 1,000 achievements, but just like a small amount of achievements. I think this game has around like 30-40 achievements, which is very manageable, and they're not really that hard. Like, one of the achievements is to win a game with Abby and grenade launcher and only use her ability to fire, which is a pretty like fun and challenging challenge, because Abby's ability is to like just expend all your ammo in like a circle around you just randomly. So basically it's like you can only use that ability and you're very liable to hit yourself, so you gotta kind of like dance around that. And the other achievements are just mostly like beating Darkness 15 with every character or beating Darkness 15 with every weapon. My main complaint about this game is that builds can start to feel pretty linear once you really know what you're doing. Sure, there are cool character / weapon specific combos and wacky builds in this game, but you can beat the game on almost any character by running the same broken combo. It's not like you can't win without the strongest upgrades in the game, but some of the wackier builds are harder to pull off. Personally, I don't mind having to work harder to pull off a combo, but it can be pretty frustrating when you die because you just weren't strong enough, or you got unlucky with your upgrade selections. Which kind of brings me to another complaint or like con about the game. The first character is the only character that has the option to reroll upgrades. So every other character is at the mercy of RNG when they level up and get to choose an upgrade. This makes going for specific builds and synergies pretty hard. Again, I'm used to grinding hours in games to get specific things, but that may not be very fun for you, which is why I'm bringing it up as like a potential con for the game. However, when you do manage to get all the pieces to the puzzle and your run starts popping off, it does pop off. Like, it does go crazy. It's a great feeling. The final negative thing that I could say about this game is probably that it kind of just looks very similar and like very bland. There's not a lot of colors going on. It's just like the same colors, and it's all like really dark and grimy, but I like the art style, I like the atmosphere of it, but some people might not. All the shots are the same color, you know, there's the occasional like red explosion or red outlined enemy, but as far as everything goes, everything is just gonna be like dark green or black or red. Like that's it. And I can see why that might be off-putting to certain people. Even like most of the characters kind of look the same. Regardless, 20 Minutes Till Dawn is still one of my favorite Vampire Survivors type games. It's definitely more mechanically engaging than other games in the genre, and its crazy builds and gothic style really separates it from a lot of its competitors. If you're a fan of the genre, I'd highly recommend picking this up and trying out a bunch of different builds on each character to see how many times or how many ways you can break the game. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and I'll catch you on the flip.